dry. Do you know I'm looking, and I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on.
Hello, crafty friends. I'm back with one of the paper pads that I purchased in my recent haul video. I'm going to focus on the 6x6 pad today. And if you remember from that video, I showed you some ephemera that I purchased, as well as some paper and some stamps with the intention of making some Valentines with my kids. Well, tonight and into tomorrow, we are expecting some sort of a crazy, massive ice storm, slush, snowstorm. I'm not sure what it is. It's Oklahoma weather. So the goal is then to make 60 cards and envelopes for the Valentines for my 3 youngest kids. I decided to make the cards 3x3 square, and we're going to create envelopes that go with them as well. Now for the card bases, I am going to use this cardstock. It is 12 by 12 paper. It's 80 pound. It's the American Crafts cardstock. It does have a texture on one side. It's smooth on the other. It's a nice heavy cardstock that's going to be able to hold up to whatever decorations they choose to put on there, or markers or pens that they want to write with. However that works out for them, that will work. And so in order to have 60 card bases, I figured that I would need 7.5 sheets of 12 by 12 cardstock. I'm going to go ahead and cut up the full 8 sheets just so we have a few extra. They do yield 8 3x6 pieces when cut like that. Then for the envelopes, I want to use a paper that's not quite so heavy. I want something a little bit thinner, but still sturdy and smooth to write on. So I chose to go with a 65 pound cardstock from Park Lane. It's a little bit lighter weight. It also doesn't have the texture on it. It's a much smoother paper. And so we're going to use that to make our envelopes. Now, I went to my WeRMemory Keepers envelope punch board to determine what size my envelopes, what size cardstock I needed to create envelopes to fit a 3x3 card. And one of the great things about the design of these punch boards is WeRMemory Keepers printed all of these dimensions on the punch board itself, so I don't have to worry about losing this little piece of paper that tells me what size to punch, etc. So I go and look over here on the column, it says card size, and when I go to the 3x3 size, which is the size we're making, and I move on over, it says I need a paper size of 5¼ by 5¼ and then it also tells me where my initial score line is going to be, and that's 2 5/8. I'm not really concerned with that now. We'll use this as reference when we get to that point. Right now, I'm simply trying to cut my materials. And so for the 3x3 card base size, in order to create an envelope, I am going to need to cut pieces that are 5¼ by 5¼ square. And I'm going to cut those out of this lighter weight cardstock again. And I will get 4 per 12 by 12 page. And that means that I'm going to need 15 pages of this cardstock to cut for my envelope. So I'm going to cut up 60 squares that are 5¼ by 5¼ for the envelopes. So this is what this is going to look like. I have gone ahead and cut up 60 pieces of 5¼ by 5¼ cardstock out of that 65 pound cardstock from Park Lane. And then I have cut up 60 pieces that are 3 inches by 6 inches out of the 85 pound American Crafts cardstock for our card bases. Now there's a little something on there. They're going to get scored at 3 inches on the 6-inch side, folded in half, and that is going to be our card bases. The envelopes are going to be determined where to score when we get to that, and I will definitely show that for you. But I'm kind of running through all of the assembly of the parts right now, so I can fast forward through some of this prep work that I'm doing before I get the kids involved and we start making the cards. So that's our card bases and our envelopes. Okay, so if you remember, I purchased in that haul video a collection of stamps also for us to use for sentiments. The kids can either stamp them inside of the cards, they can stamp them on some of the cutouts that I created here that will then correspond to that. And then I went ahead and cut out a matting piece as well. And I used my brother's ScanNCut for this, if you can see that, so that I wouldn't have to run these through the die cutting machine so many times because I'm creating 60 of them, right? And for each one of these, that's 2 each times 60, and you understand the math can get pretty big there. But it was really simple. I simply used my brother's ScanNCut. I chose the pre-programmed shapes that they had in there. I sized them according to the stamps that, potentially wanted to be used. I added some that were a little bit, different in size, like these small ones, thinking that they might want to put a heart on them, or maybe they just want to draw a picture. I don't want them to be limited by what is out here, so they can certainly use their imagination. And then I also cut, to go with the card bases here, I did cut matting pieces out of some black cardstock just to sort of help that pop off the page and give it that contrast to work with. Now for the matting pieces, I simply cut them out using my paper trimmer. I was able to get 16 per page, and they are cut at 2 7/8 by 2 7/8 square to fit onto our 3x3 cards and still have a little, 1/8 of an inch reveal, well, 1/16 of an inch reveal all the way around there. So you've got a little bit of the white reveal showing on that. So now that brings us back to our pattern paper. And if you remember, we have 6 patterns and we've got 3 pieces each. So I was able to pull 6 patterns, 3 pages each, out of my 6x6 paper pad and still sort of, hoard and hold on to the pages that I really wanted, all the pretty pages for myself. So I have a total of 18 6x6 pieces of pattern paper to use. Now, I only need for the 6x6s, I only need 15. So that gives me 3 extra. Again, I'm going to go ahead and cut them up anyway. There might be some mistakes. Maybe we want to put some paper somewhere else, but I'm going to use all of these to cut into pieces that are going to be 2 3/4 by 2 3/4 inch square. And so that's going to yield me 4 per page. But I'm going to hold on to those little cutoffs on the extra pieces. And I'm also going to hold on to, if you can see here on these pages, they've got this little branding strip on there. I think I'm going to go ahead and cut these into some flag shapes or something. They can use those to decorate on their cards as well. So we definitely want to hold on to those too. So those are all the materials that we're going to use. I'm going to go ahead and get started cutting the rest of my paper, scoring and folding my card bases, and I will be right back to show you how we score and fold the envelopes.
I put my feet up and we just sing along, and I can't help but feeling, just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever?
Okay, so we've got our pieces cut. These are my little cutoffs, and I think they'll make really great little flags or decorative elements, or I'm sure my kids will come up with something. And then I've got, these are the other portion of the cutoffs. They're just a longer version of the same. And then we've got all of the branding strips as well that all have really nice patterns on them. Look how nicely the XO's laid out on the branding strip. That's definitely usable. So I'm going to keep all of these for them just for their own creative process. They can decide what they want to do with those. Okay, so we have scored and folded all of our card bases. And now, according to my directions on my WeRMemory Keepers envelope punch board, for a 3x3 card, I need a paper size of 5 1/4 by 5 1/4. I have cut 60 of those. And on here it says the score line begins at 2 5/8 inches. And how this punch board works, it's really ingenious, is you take your paper that is cut to the dimensions specified, and I'm going to scoot it over to the score line specified. So in this case, it's 2 5/8 inches. So just 1/8 of an inch past the 2.5 inch mark. And the first thing you do is you punch, and then you take your scoring tool and you drive it right along this little line here lightly. Now, I find that rather than starting at the front and pulling it back, I find it's easier if I just sort of lightly find that and follow it through. And then you're going to turn it counterclockwise, And you don't really have to measure anymore. You could continue to line it up, but you don't measure. This is made so that you simply line up this little, I don't know if you can see here, there is a little arrow type plastic thing sticking out here, and you line that up with your score mark. See, I may have moved mine a little bit. You line it up with a score mark, you punch again, and you take your scoring tool and you go right back along that line. And you just continue all the way around until you've made 4 punches and 4 score marks. And what it is going to do is it's going to give you a perfectly sized envelope for the specifications that you wanted. Now, once those are done, and this part is optional, you can take it to the back of the envelope punch board and punch to round those corners of your envelope pieces as they come folding up. And it is a really nice finish edge. So I am going to go ahead and continue to punch and score all around each of my envelope pieces. I'm not going to round the corners until the end. I'm going to stack them up and use my my corner chomper because I can do more than 1 page at a time. And when doing 60 at a time with 4 corners, it's just easier if I can stack them up and have less steps. So I'm going to do that and I'll be right back. Okay, so we have scored and rounded all the corners on our envelope pieces. We're simply going to fold and burnish all of our score marks, just like this, and then leaving one side up, leaving a top and bottom side. I'm gonna put the 2 sides in, okay, so top one's up, bottom one's down, and I'm just gonna run a thin bead of glue all the way around, press it up, give it just a little bit of a burnishing. If there's any glue seeping out, I just wipe it up with my finger, and that's it. And so I'm going to go through and fold the rest of these, and I'll be right back. Okay, so we now have 60 envelopes. We have got 60 card bases. We have got all of our decorating elements and our cut papers and things like that. And now all I really need to do is gather the kids and get some crayons and colored pencils and markers and whatever else they want to add to this. Get them all equipped with some glue, and then we're going to put these together. So I am going to reconvene tomorrow. We're going to meet up with the kids at the kitchen table and get all of these put together. Good morning. We officially have a snow day or ice day or I don't know, inclement weather day. I'm not sure. Anyway, my kids are home, and as planned, we are going to assemble our Valentines for their school classes. I prepared all the pieces yesterday, and so we're ready to go. I woke up feeling like I'm getting sick. You probably hear it in my voice. I'm really stuffed up. So we're home. It's a snow-ish day. It hasn't snowed yet, but they're forecasting some really yucky stuff. And I am going to keep the kids busy and productive, and we're going to go ahead and make these and try to work through the whatever the sinus stuff is that I've got right now. So I did find an assortment of stickers to use and other just little fun ephemera, you know, partially used sheets of hearts, and these are so cute. Look at these little dinosaurs. I thought they would be really fun for the kids to use them too. I think we've used them on previous years, and these are just sort of the leftovers that I have. But my youngest and I went through my sticker collection and pulled these out. These were ones she was interested in using. Like, here's a more full sheet of it. Look how cute these are. Aren't they sweet? So we are going to assemble our cards. We're going to decorate our cards, and I'm basically just going to let the kids have at it. I'm going to let them sort of get creative with the supplies that we put out on the table, and let's see how this turns out.
I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on, I put my feet up, and we just sing along. And I can't help but feeling, just loving this moment. Can we stay here You don't know I'm looking. With you everything's complete. Do you know how much I love you? I put your favorite song on just to wake you up. When I dance around, I can't help but feeling I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here together? If I could stop the time, don't you know that I would? 'Cause I'm just loving this moment. Can we stay here forever? Forever, forever, forever. I'm loving this moment. Can we stay here forever?
Okay, so now we're just gonna make some quick little bags. These are not fancy bags, just something for them to put their Valentines in to take to school and maybe have something to bring the Valentines home in. And we're gonna make these by placing an 8.5 by 12-inch piece of paper in our scoreboard. So on the 12-inch side, we're gonna score at 1/2 inch, at 2.5 inches, at 6.25 inches, and at 8.25 inches. Then we're gonna turn it to the 8-inch side, or 8.5 inch side, and we are gonna score at 1/2 inch and 6.5 inches. And that's all of our scoring. And here is a diagram of how that's going to look. We're gonna free up our tabs on the 1/2 inch side along the 12-inch length. This is not a fancy box. This is just a quick little bag that we're putting together for the Valentines. And then we're gonna free up our tab that's gonna connect our bag together. And then our tabs for the bottom of our bag. And you don't necessarily need both of the longer rectangle pieces at the bottom. I am going to put them in so that I can encase the two side pieces that are going to come in as tabs on the bottom. But you don't have to. I just like it because it makes it a little bit sturdier. Let's try to get that a little bit better. There we go. Okay, so then you're going to end up with a piece that looks like this, and we're going to fold and burnish all of our score lines. Now along the 12-inch side, these little 1/2 inch tabs, we're going to go ahead and glue those down. That's going to be the top of our bag, and it just gives it a nice finished edge and a stronger edge because we're going to use our hole punch and put some string in there. So this just sort of doubles up on that. Again, I am not trying to make something really precise or really perfect or even really very pretty. I'm just trying to get a bag together for them to take this to school. And then we're going to fold it in half like this. I put some glue on our tab mark here. Fold it in half. Adhere that down. Let's give it a nice little burnishing, so that we've got looking like this. And now we're going to place one of our rectangles in, and we're going to put glue on the back side of all three of these. So put glue here, here, and here. We're going to fold our sides in, and then the other bottom in. Set it up, make sure it's kind of squared up. Sometimes you have to wiggle it a little bit. I take my ruler and I just run along here. Make sure that glue is all stuck down. Take your fingers and press in while you're squeezing both sides together. And that's going to create a little bit of a crease here along the side. But really why I'm doing it is because I want to line up for my holes for the ribbon that I'm going to put through here as a handle. So open it back up. We're going to take a length of ribbon. I'm not being precise. I'm just sort of guesstimating that I need about this much ribbon. Get 2 pieces per bag. And we're just going to slip the ribbon in. each one of the holes and tie it in a square knot and call it good. And there's our bags.
I watch you as you drive. Do you know I'm looking? And I can't help but smile. Do you know how much I love you? You put my favorite song on, I put my feet up, and we just sing along. And I can't help but feeling